Hey, DC fans, and welcome back to DCMU Studio. Today, we're diving deep into the rich history of DC's cinematic universe. From the iconic Dark Knight to the breathtaking Wonder Woman, DC has given us some of the greatest comic book movies of all time. But let's face it, not every film has been a home run. Over the last decade, DC has faced its fair share of challenges in the cinematic arena.
However, we're not here to dwell on the stumbles. We're here to celebrate the triumphs.
So, how do we sift through this extensive history and determine the best of the best? Well, that's where Rotten Tomatoes comes into play. While it may not be the definitive measure of a film's greatness, it does offer valuable insights into how movies have been received by critics and audiences. So, without further ado, let's explore the top 10 highest-rated DC movies of all time, according to Rotten Tomatoes. Whether you're a die-hard DC fan or just looking for your next movie night pick, you won't want to miss this countdown. Sit back, relax, and join us on this cinematic journey through the best of DC. I'm Jay, and this is DCMU Studio, your go-to destination for all things DC on the big screen. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and let us know in the comments which DC movie is your all-time favorite. Now, let the countdown begin. Number 10. Batman Begins. There have been many different on-screen iterations of Batman over the years, ranging from Michael Keaton to Adam West, George Clooney, Ben Affleck, and more. However, arguably the most famous of these Batman was the version played by Christian Bale in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, rebooted the brand with Bale and Nolan's darker and more mature take on the character. The first film of this new series was 2005 Batman Begins, which was a major refreshment and still is considered one of the best Batman movies ever made. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an 84% approval rating from critics based on 289 reviews, and the audience score is 10 points higher with an impressive 94%. Number 9. The Batman 2022. The newest iteration of Batman to debut on the big screen was Robert Pattinson's version of the character in 2022, The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves. After years of turmoil in development and a global pandemic to boot, The Batman finally hit theaters in early 2022. The film was directly inspired by some of the darker and more grounded Batman comics, as well as films like Seven from David Fincher. This approach allowed Reeves and Pattinson to create a Batman movie that was the most comic accurate of any so far, while also thoroughly differentiating itself from any of the films that preceded it. This inventiveness earned The Batman solid reviews from both critics and audiences, as it holds an 85% approval from critics based on 510 reviews and an 87% audience score. Number 8. The Dark Knight Rises. The final entry in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, 2012, The Dark Knight Rises, is often considered to be the worst of the three, but that hasn't stopped it from earning its spot on this list, above Batman Begins no less. The film holds an 87% approval from critics based on 375 reviews, and the audience score is even better with a 90%. While the reputation of The Dark Knight Rises may have soured a bit in the decades since its release, there's no denying that most critics thought at the time, and many still do, that Rises was an exciting and fitting conclusion to Nolan's take on Batman. Number 7. The Lego Batman Movie. It may be surprising to see the Lego Batman movie on this list at all. The 2017 spin-off from the Lego movie was just as well received as its predecessor, as the Batman parody earned a 90% approval from critics based on 316 reviews and a score of 80% from audiences. What makes this even more impressive is that this score makes Lego Batman the second highest-rated Batman movie on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie is not only a hilarious reinvention of the character, it also has a solid understanding of what makes Batman and the various DC characters that are included work, which in turn makes its comedic skewering of them even more entertaining. It's a movie that respects DC and its characters, but it also isn't afraid to joke about any and all aspects of them. Number 6. The Suicide Squad 2021. While James Gunn may primarily be known for his Guardians of the Galaxy movies with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he has played in the DC Universe on more than one occasion. His first DC film was 2021, The Suicide Squad, which was a semi-sequel to 2016's Suicide Squad. Gunn's 2021 film was widely regarded as leagues better than its predecessor. With 379 reviews counted, The Suicide Squad earned a 90% approval from critics, and it holds an 82% score from audiences. This was more than good enough to justify giving Gunn's Peacemaker series a green light. Number 5. Shazam 2019. While Shazam Fury of the Gods may be one of the biggest box office flops of this year so far, the first Shazam movie from 2019 was a solid hit both at the box office and with critics. Directed by David F. Sandberg and starring Zachary Levi, Shazam scored a 90% rating on Rotten Tomatoes based on 420 reviews, with audiences giving it an 82% score. This made the movie one of the most well-received movies both of the modern DCU franchise and of DC's extensive film history overall. It's one of a few DCU films that managed to capitalize on the potential of its characters and story completely and effectively, and it was well rewarded for that. Number 4. Teen Titans Go! To the movies. Another surprising addition to this list, especially this high up, is 2018 Teen Titans Go! To the movies. The animated film was an extension of the existing Teen Titans Go! Animated series, and like that series, it was a lighthearted and clever take on the broader DC universe. With a 91% score from critics based on 136 reviews and a 71% score from audiences, the movie was praised for its charm, wit, and general aura of fun. Teen Titans Go! To the movies is one of the best examples of how wide-ranging the DC universe can be in terms of tone and genre. Number 3. Wonder Woman 2017. Considering Wonder Woman is one of the most recognizable and iconic superhero characters of all time, it's somewhat surprising that the 2017 film directed by Patty Jenkins was the first solo cinematic outing that she received. With that, expectations were high for Wonder Woman starring Gal Gadot. Thankfully, Jenkins and Gadot delivered an action-adventure film that was deserving of the Wonder Woman name. Both critics and audiences loved the film, as it scored a 93% approval from 480 counted critic reviews, and it holds an 83% score from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. While its sequel, Wonder Woman 1984, may have been a disappointment to some, 2017 Wonder Woman was a great film that deserves to be counted among DC's best. Number 2. Superman 1978. There is no superhero film as essential to the genre as 1978's Superman movie. Directed by Richard Donner, the film was the debut of Christopher Reeve's Superman, and it proved that these kinds of big-budget comic book movies can excel if they focus on character and provide audiences with a genuine sense of wonder. With 77 reviews counted, Superman, the movie has flown to a 94% approval from critics, and the audience score is a solid 86% as well. Reeve's Superman is one of the most memorable and beloved iterations of any comic book character on screen, and the film had an incredible supporting cast that included the likes of Margot Kidder, Gene Hackman, Marlon Brando, and more. Number 1. The Dark Knight 2008. Is anyone really surprised that Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight is the most well-reviewed DC movie on Rotten Tomatoes? The movie has become the gold standard for what a great comic book movie can be. It is the biggest hit in DC film history when it released in 2008, and its lack of a Best Picture nomination at the Oscars caused such a controversy that the Academy later expanded its number of nominees from 5 to 10 as a result. Beyond that, Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker is one of the most haunting and resonating performances from any film in the 21st century. Nolan's second Batman film holds a 94% approval from both critics. 3 for 5 reviews counted and audiences on Rotten Tomatoes, which speaks to the universal love for this movie. As an aside from that, there is also something deeply satisfying in the fact that films centered on all 3 of DC's iconic core trinity of characters make up the top 3 spots on this list. The characters of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are some of the most beloved in modern fiction. While not every film based on these 3 characters has been great, they have each individually delivered at least one truly outstanding cinematic outing. And that wraps up our countdown of the top 10 highest-rated DC movies of all time according to Rotten Tomatoes. What an incredible journey through the cinematic masterpieces that have defined DC's legacy on the big screen. Before we go, we want to hear from you, the true heroes of DCMU Studio. Which DC movie do you think deserves the top spot? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this countdown and want more DC goodness, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a moment in the world of DC.